The Drifter searches on YouTube on how to be more productive, how to be more motivated towards his goals. A couple minutes into a YouTube video, he checks his suggested videos, and 3 minutes in, he clicks another video. He repeats his cycle all day long, trying to find that magical answer that he's looking for, trying to find that person who's going to give him the reason, the why on how, the answer on how he can be more productive and be more motivated. To only be left disappointed at the end of his day when he wasted all that time searching for someone to tell him the answer. The player logs in immediately and understands that he hasn't been leveling up as much lately. He hasn't been as motivated, but he understands, he doesn't go on YouTube, he understands that it's not something external that he can find to make him more motivated, it's something internal. So what does he do? He goes into solitude and has some conversations with himself about how and why he's not motivated to do anything. You see, when I first started self-improvement, everything was difficult. I was totally trying to change the person who I was, and it really was like walking through mud. I'd watched a bunch of YouTube videos telling me like, how do I be more productive? How can I be motivated? Because I don't feel like doing any of these things. But what you don't realize is the answer is not external. It's not someone like me. It's not going to just give you the answer. You have to find the answer yourself. But how do we do that? What influences our behaviors in the first place? You see, before we even get to behavior, there's two things that equal behavior. And I got this equation from the book, The Compound Effect. It's back there on my shelf. But it's your thoughts plus a choice equals your behavior. Your choices are your actions, and your thoughts are what? You, your mind, what you think about all the time. So it makes sense that if you are struggling to be motivated and take action towards things that you want to do, then it makes sense that the person who you were before you started self-improvement is still ingrained in you. And that's why instead of just changing our actions, we have to start with you. We have to start with the thoughts that you have in your mind. Because what influences an action? A thought. So the first section of this video is going to be about you, your thoughts, and how you can change your thoughts and change the way that you think to be more motivated and take the right actions. So the current version of yourself does not line up with the actions that you want to take. So what does that mean? All the thoughts that you have, all the things that you think about are not lined up with where you want to go. If you're still thinking about the video games, you're still thinking about going on your phone, you're still thinking about that girl in school, you're still thinking about all these things, all these distractions, then of course you're not going to be motivated to do anything that does not align with your thoughts. So how do we slowly change this? It's not some overnight fix because this process takes a long time. It's almost like you have to ungroove it's almost like if you think of a mountain and you're skiing down a mountain, those grooves in the snow are ingrained in your mind because you went down the same path over and over and over. Those grooves are deepened. They're ingrained in your mind. So what you need to do is not go down that path anymore so the snow falls and the grooves get more shallow. So it pretty much means to not go down the same path over and over and form a new path. Start forming new connections in your brain, new thoughts. That's pretty much easier said than done. But what you need to realize is the lowest version of yourself is who you are. You are not the highest version of yourself. You are the lowest version of yourself that you accept. So we need to increase the lowest standards of ourselves and level up. We need to change the way that we completely see ourselves. We need to change our character. Instead of looking at yourself like a gamer, a person who just plays video games all day, eats junk food, all this stuff, relapses all the time, then you need to change the way you look at yourself. Because if you look in the mirror, you see a person who relapses, who doesn't go to the gym, who's really awkward, who's really nervous, who has anxiety, then of course your actions and you wanting to be motivated does not make sense. Of course you're not motivated to take certain actions. I have 2 quests for you to do. The first quest is going to be to write out this ideal version of yourself. So right now, pause the video, take out a piece of paper, and sit down and write what do you want about yourself and why. The qualities that you want, the things that you want to achieve, the type of person you are towards others. Write down some traits, write down some qualities, write down your values of who you want to be. You can create your own character. In the game of life, before we even log in and go and level up, we need to know who we are, because knowing who you are gives you this confidence to walk through life indomitably. It gives you this type of confidence to take action and be more motivated because this character in your mind that you want to become is aligned with your goals. Now, once you have this person written out, you have to start read that shit every day. Put that piece of paper on your pillow, put it next to your nightstand, leave that paper out and kind of read it every single day to know who you want to be and become that person. Your goal is not to achieve these external things like a lot of money or to travel or to do these things. It's to become a certain person, to become a certain character. The reason that you're not motivated is because the character you are, it doesn't want to do the things that you want to do. So you need to align the character that you want in your head, because you are not your race, you are not your religion, you are not these labels that society's put on you, because you are your own human being. You are not what your parents tell you, you are not what your friends think about you, who you are. You are not who I think you are. You are you. You are your own person. And so you can be whoever you want. You can be the player. You can be the person who is ambitious, who is achieving his goals, who wakes up every day excited. You can be that person if you wanted to, but you have to believe that you are that person and you are taking steps towards becoming him. So once you have that written down, put it to the side and we're going to get to the next quest. The next quest is going to be integration. So I made a whole video on this before, but I'm going to explain it again. So integration, the reason that you are not aligned with your goals is because parts of your psyche, parts of your subconscious mind are not aligned with your goals as well. You still have baggage, you still have trauma, you still have kept up emotions, bottled up emotions in yourself that you need to take care of. It's taking care of the child. If you ever heard of the higher self and the lower self is the child. He rules you. He decides where you go. He decides what you do. The highest version of yourself, he might be logical and rational, but the lowest version of yourself is the flesh, is the person who is like animalistic and is always trying to fulfill the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So we need to take care of him first, because he's that child of ours in our mind is afraid. He's in a fight or flight mode all the time. He's scared. He always feels like he's in danger. So what you need to do is integrate yourself and speak to him and talk to him. So I've tried this process a couple times and it really does help bring up past emotions, and it does help you relieve those past traumas and that baggage that you have on, because we can't move forward, we can't change the way we think if the child in the back of our mind is constantly screaming and constantly keeping us back from moving forward. Okay, so what you want to do is sit down with yourself and close your eyes and visualize the thing that is bothering you. Visualize, okay, what is that thing that hurt me when I was younger? What is that thing that constantly like brings me pain? The thing that is always like that I always think of that brings up trauma. If you ask yourself that, because you will find the answer. The person who seeks, he shall find. The thing that he seeks, he shall find. If you want to look for something in your mind, you have to genuinely try to find it. So close your eyes and visualize. You can even pause the video if you want after I explain it. But visualize that pain point, that trauma, that bottled up emotion. If you really try to think about it, you will start to visualize it and relive that memory, relive that painful experience that you had. Because a lot of the times, those painful, traumatic experiences, we forget about them. Our mind puts it in the back shelf. It puts it in the very back of our mind so we forget about it. We don't want to relive that experience again because it was so painful. Relive that experience and it might hurt, and that's okay, because what happened is when that experience did happen, you did not know how to cope right. You didn't know how to actually feel through all the emotions. So feel through it all and maybe even cry a little bit, maybe be sad, maybe write it down in a journal a little bit. Let out the bottled up emotions and feel through it. And this feels so much better because a lot of us have trauma, a lot of us have baggage, and what we do is we project that trauma and baggage and we self-sabotage ourselves constantly. The reason that we're so negative to people is because of our trauma. The reason that we self-sabotage is because those needs are not fulfilled and we fulfill them in an unhealthy way. So really use this process of integration. Every time that you want to heal your trauma, go back into your psyche. When you see your younger self crying, be like a little spirit, be like a little angel going to him and give him the right advice. Give that person who's crying, who's sad, who's lonely, no one understands how he feels. Go to him as an adult, as a person who you are now, and say to him, it's going to be okay. I have it from here. I can take care of it. And when you get him to look towards your goals, when you get him to be like, when you say to him, yo, listen, look what I'm gonna do for us. Look at the goals that we want. I'm gonna do this for both of us, and it will be great. You're not in danger anymore because I'm gonna take care of you. That's what you need to say to him, because you need to, instead of pointing his head down, he's looking down, he's sad. Point his head towards your visions and your goals that you want to achieve. And this process of integration is pointing all your psyches, even the points in your mind that were traumatic and were really bad, point all those towards your goals, because those traumas and baggages are pointed towards relieving the pain. They're pointed towards escaping from it. So you want to point their head towards your goals and your vision, and use this process of integration constantly to feel your emotions and to take off that baggage, and so you can move forward, so it's easier to move forward. The next section of this video is going to be your choices. So after we understand this character that we want to be, we integrate ourselves into our past, we totally change the person we are. And this, like I said, this isn't an overnight thing. This might take weeks, this might take days, weeks, months to actually start processing into a new person. It's not an overnight thing. You can't just wake up the next day and all of a sudden you can be a new person. You can always change, but you can't just completely, because you have to kind of catch up. Reality has to catch up to this idea of you in your mind. So what influences our decisions? Our character, our emotions, etc. So as humans, we are constantly running away from pain and we're constantly going towards pleasure. I'll put a picture up right now of what I mean by this. Someone's always dangling the carrot, and pain's always like trying to bite our ass as we're trying to go through life. But most of the time, we run away from pain. We run away from discomfort. We run away from fear and towards pleasure, towards this escape. And so what we're going to do with these choices is use that to our advantage. We're going to use pain to our advantage. We're going to use this process of running towards pleasure to our advantage. What this process is going to do for you is pretty much stack emotions and your thoughts on top of each other to move forward, to be more motivated. So I said in the beginning of the video to increase the lowest standards for yourself. So what does that really mean? So we have a high version of ourselves and the lowest version of ourselves. Using pain, we're going to be like, okay, we're going to increase the lowest standards of ourselves by being disgusted in the fact that we are not at the highest version of ourselves. It's painful to not be the highest version of ourselves. Therefore, what we're going to do is run away from that discomfort, run away towards that pain, and all of a sudden, our highest version of ourselves is now the lowest version of ourselves. You need to find it painful. You need to find discomfort in the fact that you are not the highest version of yourself yet. You are not this person. Because with that, what that will do is motivate you, because motivation comes from a desire for something, a desire for either pain or pleasure. We're either trying to run away from pain or run towards pleasure. So be like frustrated, be dissatisfied. It's okay to feel negative emotions and use them to your advantage. Be dissatisfied in the fact that you are not where you want to be. And so what that will do is, over time, the highest version of yourself will now be the lowest version of yourself. And then you've gotten better. So let's go over this again, right? We have the character, this character that we want to be. What are the actions that he takes? What are the things that he does every single day? Number 2 is to integrate our past, our psyche, our child that is inside of us. Point his head towards the goals and the visions that you want. That's 2. And 3 is being dissatisfied in the fact that you are not where you want to be. Using pain to our advantage to propel ourselves forward and increase the lowest standard of ourselves. So it's 3 things that you can use mentally in your mind. It isn't really some practical external stuff, but internal stuff. This is the internal work that you have to do. Constantly trying to figure out who you want to be, having those conversations with yourself, being accountable for yourself, sitting down and being like, okay, how are we messing up? Why are we messing up? What do we need in order to move forward? Almost like, I don't want to call it brainwashing, but you're almost brainwashing yourself into becoming this version, or giving yourself this illusion. It's like faking it till you make it. And you might think it's like a negative term, but it's really not. In some senses, when it's a delusion, when you actually failed a test and you think like, oh yeah, I got an A, that's delusion. But when you want to be this person, it's not delusion at all, because you can be whoever you want, because internally you get to create this character of yours. So once we understand that our thoughts and ourselves plus our choices and decisions equal our behavior, what's next? What's next after we get to behavior and we're motivated towards our goals? Now the fact is that we have to repeat this behavior over and over and over again. How can we make this process frictionless, and how can we be more motivated towards building these habits and achieving our goals and making progress? So I'm gonna give you another equation. So your thoughts plus your choices plus your behavior over time equals what? Big results, good changes. It equals compounding results. So we need to next take care of, after we took care of the thoughts, the choices, and the behavior, now we need to now build habits over a period of time. So how do we do that? Now, since we're more motivated, we need to set systems and routines to make everything easy. I did a video on brain points before now, but I'll explain it again. Let's just think about it real quick. You only have a fixed amount of brain energy or brain points that you can use every single day towards your goals. Let's say, for example, you start at the beginning of the day with 1,000 brain points. And what you do is you read for an hour. As soon as you wake up, that's what? Minus 100 brain points. Or you do a couple hours of deep work, that's minus 300 brain points. Now you're left with 600 brain points. And then you got to use those brain points towards other things like, okay, studying, okay, maybe even the gym, listening to music. Our brain is, the good thing about this too is that we can increase our mental bandwidth. We can increase our brain points or brain energy to then have more energy to put our focus in things. Being focused and like learning like mentally straining stuff takes our brain points away. So what I've done for this process to make things frictionless is I set up routines and I set up things in place so I don't have to really think. I don't have to like waste my brain points on things that are just don't really mean that much. So what I do, I eat the same things every day and I pretty much do the same habits every single day. A lot of us have really spontaneous schedules, like we have school, work, we have events, we have so many things on our daily schedule. Okay, we go out with our friends. We have a lot on our mind. We have a lot on our plate, and that's perfectly fine. But at least add like 1 or 2 things into your schedule at the same time every single day, or at least try to eat the same foods every single day. This process has really helped me save my brain points, and it's really just an unconscious thing now. I just go and make the same foods at the same time every single day, and it's so easy. I'm not taking like 20, 30 minutes every single day, even more than that, to think about what to eat for breakfast, think about what to eat for lunch, think about what to eat for dinner. Because it really is just like your brain points are just being taken away on like little things. And some of you might think like, okay, it's kind of crazy that you eat the same things every day. Don't you get like sick of them? And I say, no, I really don't get sick of them, because the foods that I do make for myself, they're really good, and I do enjoy making them every single day. It's like I can kind of turn my brain off and just like, have you seen like one of those like those anime edited videos like where they're like making that'd be me in the kitchen. I turn my brain off and I'm in the kitchen just making my food every single day. Same things every single day. Of course, it's not the same things every single day, but I try to, at least. Sometimes like, okay, maybe I have to skip a meal, or maybe I have to do it at a different time, or maybe switch these around, and that's perfectly fine. We're not trying to be perfect at all, but what we're trying to do is try our best. Same thing with your habits. When you wake up every day, do the same things to get you towards your goals. Maybe do 1 hour of deep work. Maybe do 1 hour of studying. Maybe go to the gym at the same time every single day. Maybe have the same workouts every single time that you go for different muscle groups. Because as humans, like we really kind of like to be in routines. Like having a spontaneous life can be draining and exhausting. Like you're trying to figure out what to do next. Like if you're a drifter, if you're a person who drifts through life, you're always like sitting there thinking like, okay, what's next? What's next? Like what do I do now? You're always thinking about the next puzzle piece. But as a player, you already have the puzzle made out. You already understand that, okay, I can switch pieces out every single time. I can switch pieces out whenever I want to make this structure of mine, so I can move through life with less friction and be more motivated. So that's my best advice for you for how to repeat the same behaviors. It's to set structures, set routines, try your best to do the same things every single day. And I hope this process kind of helps you. Make sure you did the quest though. If you didn't do the quest, go back in the video and do them, because it really does help. And you can do this process over and over and over again. Because honestly, for me, I'm constantly changing, and so all of us are. Like I change like every couple months. Like I want to be a new person. I want to be a better person. Like I want to constantly just strive for more, and that's perfectly okay. You shouldn't try to be the same person. You should always try to develop and evolve and grow. And we do have those times where we're not motivated, and we do unfortunately have to use discipline. But you see discipline as points to use. Discipline can be a way for you to see who you truly are in the moment. But discipline can only last so long. That's why like motivation, like we kind of want to be motivated. Of course we want to be motivated. But don't be afraid to lock in on those disciplined days and really try to soak up that discipline, soak up those discipline points to really see who you truly are. Because you really see who you are when you're disciplined versus being motivated. So don't be so focused on being disciplined or being motivated. Just do what's right. Just do what you need to do. Kind of detach yourself from the process. Don't be so worried about being motivated, being disciplined. Just do what's right. Do what's right for your character, for your goals, for your loved ones, for whatever that you value in life. And also too, I have a free Discord that you can join, a link in the description. It's a community called The Guild that I've created. We have over 490 members in there. We talk about habit trackers, we talk about be productive, we talk about our goals, purpose, etc. And if you want to join, I'd be happy to have you. And so with that, continue your journey and keep moving forward.